Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Ajnananjan Havitirtham Vidyatirtham Vivekinam Sarvesham Sukhadam Tirtham Bharati Tirthamashraye Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tattvajnam Vidushekara Bharati. Dear friends, welcome to this session of our discussions on PRABODHA SUDHAKARA. In the last meeting, we concluded the fifth prakaranam, the fifth chapter of this text, which was called as Manonigraha Prakaranam. Now we are entering the sixth chapter, which is Vairagya Prakaranam. This is again a very important chapter in this text. All the verses are important, but this is particularly it contains many teachings which are very essential for us in the practice of Vairagyam. So let us get into that chapter and start to look at the first verse. So this is verse number 78. Paragriha grihini putra dravinanam agame vinasheva kathite harsha vishadau kimva syatam kshanam sthatu. So the way this particular chapter's verses are structured is in four stages. In the first stage, the teaching of Vairagyam is given to the householders, or one can say the grihasthas, those who are in the grihastha-ashrama, how they can live at the same time practicing or keeping in mind the ideal of Vairagyam. In the second the second part of this particular chapter, the teaching is given to, or the description of how the sannyasi can practice the Vairagya, or how the sannyasi practices Vairagya. That is given in the second part of this chapter. And then there is a common verse which signifies how the person's state of mind is there when the person is practicing Vairagyam. And then the last two portions of this chapter talk about a message for all to practice the Vairagyam, and also a warning about people or about the state of mind when Vairagyam is not practiced and the mind is still revolving around the Vastu Vishaya. So in this multiple stages, this chapter is structured. So the structure we have to bring out and we have to keep it in mind as we are studying this chapter. So as I was mentioning, the first stage is for the householders, is for those who are in the grihastha-ashrama, how they should be inculcating the ideal of Vairagyam in their life. And Vairagyam, as we remember, the goal being moksha, one has to be free, one has to keep the mind free from the lesser things in life. One has to keep the mind free from the various vishayas, worldly objects, and worldly thoughts have to be kept away from the mind. So how to do that? So that is the teaching here. Multiple stages of this teaching have been described in the previous chapters also in step-by-step fashion. Now at this stage, the discussion is exclusively about the practice of Vairagyam, how to keep it. So let us read this verse and try to understand this. Paragriha grihini putra dravinanam agame vinasheva kathite harsha vishadau kimva syatam kshanam sthatuhu. So this is a pithy verse which is conveying this idea that person who is staying in the house, that is the householder. You see, when we say householder, when we say grihastha, the person who is stationed in the house, that is the meaning of the word grihastha. So when we say householder, the person is holding the house. So even between these two meanings there is a difference. So one may say that person who is a householder is holding on to the house. The person who is grihastha is just staying within the house. He is stationed in the house. So how to live the life? One can be a grihastha, one can be stationed in the house, but at the same time develop a certain detached attitude in the activities which are happening in the house. So how to develop? What is the example which is given for that purpose? There is one example which is this verse is giving. That example is, suppose you are you went to the house of some other person, and the other person's family is stationed in that house. Other people are living in that house. You are only staying in that house for very temporary duration. In that case, what your attachment will be there, what will be the level of your attachment, the depth of your attachment towards the activities, towards the people who are there in that house. You also maintain the same kind of detachment when you are living in your so-called own house, that is the, or with your own family. That is the message which is being talked about here. So we will understand it and we will look at the other dimensions of this verse. Kshanam sthatuhu. Kshanam sthatuhu means the one who is staying there in that particular place only for a very short period of time. Some kshanam means what? A particular short instant, short period of time. Sthatuhu. So for that person who is staying there only for a short period of time, harsha vishado kim va syatam. So does that person feel either harsha or vishada? Does that person feel either pleasure, elevated feeling of state of mind, or does the person feel any vishada, a very depressive state of mind, depressed state of mind, sorrow? Can that person feel sorrowful or pleasurable? Who is feeling? The person who is staying in a particular house only for short period of time. Can that person feel happy or sad just because of what? Hearing the news of what? About the various things which happen, either the positive things or the negative things which happen in that house. So paragriha, in some other house, kshanam sthatuhu. So the person who is staying there, paragriha grihini putra, paragriha grihini. So the wife of somebody else, right? The wife of the family, the wife who is the lady, the grihini means what? The dharma patni of the grihastha, the person who is holding on to the house, the person who is stationed in the house, paragriha grihini of some other house, not this person's house, the guest's house, but it is the host's house. In that house there will be a family. In that family there are family members. So who are the family members? Grihini, putra. These are the family members. So there will be the husband wife couple will be there, and then their children will be there. Dravinanam. So there will be various objects which are there in that house, etc. Agame vinasheva katite. So when that person, the guest, hears about the either the coming or going of all of these family members or the various objects in that house, etc., will this person feel, will the guest feel any elevated feeling, happiness, harsha, or vishada, any depression or any sorrow, will that person feel? It is a rhetorical question which is being asked. So the teaching is, the guest will not have much attachment towards the host's house, whatever. So the guest is going to be there only for very short period of time. So whatever be the happenings in that house, a certain detachment will be there for sure in the mind of that guest. In the same way, one can stay in one's own house, or one can stay with one's own family. That is the teaching which is being given here. So the idea is, develop a sense of dispassion towards everything and everybody whom you call as your own. Nothing belongs to oneself, everything belongs to Bhagavan, or everything belongs to nature, one may say, whatever, in whatever way. So therefore, develop a sense of detachment towards everything. So there is a wrong way to understand this verse also, which will be corrected by Bhagavad later in another verse as we see it. What is the wrong way to understand this verse? The wrong way to understand this verse is, don't care about anybody. Right? The guest, just like guest does not care about the host family, you should also not care about your family. This is not the teaching which is present here. The idea here is, don't feel right? Don't feel either happiness or don't entertain either the feeling of happiness or sadness within you just because of various experiences that you may have. Maintain a calm, peaceful, serene mind always and act in the world with compassion with that sense of mind only. It is not a teaching to which is making you devoid of compassion or anything. It is a teaching which is meant to make your mind stable, available for higher pursuits. So for that kind of mind which has to be kept stable all the time, what is the teaching? What is the message that you have to remember? What is the idea that you have to remember? That is that nobody in the world is actually belonging to us. Neither are we ourselves belonging to anybody. If you look at the level of the body and mind, the body is a temporary thing. It came during one birth only. It will go away at the end of this birth. Whereas the mind, the Sukshma Shariram, is coming with us from birth to birth. It has no connection with the particular family or anything. The mind doesn't have any real connection with any particular Janma. It is a Janma to Janma. It comes with us in through every Janma. The body is something which is Jada. It is not directly connected to the any surrounding family or anything. There is no sense of I-ness with the body. There is no, the body is not a living entity by itself. So how can it develop any kind of kinship or any kind of relationship with anybody? It really cannot. So the mind only develops the relationship, but the mind is really not related to any entity in this world, because this is a temporary state for as far as the Suksha Shariram, as far as the Jiva is concerned. The any Janma is a temporary phase of its journey. No Janma is a permanent aspect of any Jiva. The Jiva, just like you enter a house and you stay in that house for some time and then you leave, similarly, the Jiva enters the body and stays in that body for some time and then leaves. So this being the case, why to get happy or sad about the events which are happening around this body? That is the message. Therefore, maintain a calm and peaceful state of mind. That is the teaching here. The teaching is not to ignore other people. The teaching is not to treat other people with disrespect or lack of compassion. One has to maintain calmness in the mind. For that, for removing the sorrow caused due to attachment, this teaching is there, that understand the truth that you are here only for temporary time period. That is whatever one lifetime is, you are going to be here only during that time period. Then after that, the Jiva is going to go to another body. This is at the level of the just at the level of the Karma Kanda, we can say this. So Jiva goes from one body to another body, etc. These are all part of the Punarjanma, etc. Vyavaharika Satyam, all that. This is the truth as far as the Shastra is concerned. At the level of Vyavaharika, at the level of transactions, all of us are Jivas, and the Jiva is born into some body as in a particular time period of the journey of the Jiva and leaves the body, and the journey, that particular phase of the journey is over to the next body and so on. So the Jiva is not directly connected to any particular body. The body itself is Jadam. It cannot be any Jadam cannot be connected, attached to another Jadam. So the mind which is confused, the mind which does not understand, the mind which does not reflect on the truth, only such a mind is becomes attached to the world and the worldly things and the people around the body. So this teaching, keep that in mind. Then you will naturally develop the feeling of dispassion. So let us move on to the next verse. Daivat sthitam gatam va yam kanchit vishayam idyam alpam va no tushyan nacha sidan vikshya griheshu atithivat nivaset. Daivat sthitam gatam va Daivat sthitam gatam va yam kanchit vishayam idyam alpam va no tushyan nacha sidan vikshya griheshu vatithivat nivaset. So the message in the previous verse is continuing here. The previous verse was telling the example of how the guest will be reacting to the happenings in the host's home. In the same way, the teaching is explicitly given here, griheshu atithivat nivaset. So how should one be in the home? Griheshu, in the home, one has to be like atithivat nivaset, reside in the home as though one is a guest of that particular home. Reside in the body also, one may say, as though one is a guest of that particular body. So being a guest of a particular home or a particular body means also being responsible for that part of the home that one is residing in. So one is residing in a particular part of the home, one cannot afford to abuse it or anything. One cannot afford to be irresponsible towards that. Then the owner of the house will always ask, what is the, what are you doing? And he may ask you to get out and so on, right? So one has to be responsible. One is present within the home. One has to carry forward all the swadharma anushtana which one has to do. All those has to be done, just like a responsible guest take care of the home in the same way. But at the same time, whatever is happening around the events which are happening in that place need not affect the guest who is staying in that place. In the same way, daivat sthitam gatam va yang kanchit Vishayam idyam alpam va. So whether the Vishaya which is idya or alpa, so which is either a very desirable, a very great Vishaya, a very great object including people also, alpam va, whether it is a trivial thing or a trivial happening, a trivial object which is either gained or lost. Sthitham va, so that is which is present, gatam va, so which is going away. Whatever may be happening, whether there is an incoming positive thing or an incoming negative thing, or an outgoing positive experience or an outgoing negative experience, whatever may be the level of that experience, whatever may be the magnitude of that experience, no matter what happens, no matter what occurs in the world, no tushyan nacha sidan. So don't be sorrowful, nacha sidan, no tushyan, neither become happy, neither become pleased by what is happening, neither become attached to what is happening. So vikshya means what? By observing all these things which are happening around you, don't become attached to any of them. Therefore, stay in the home, or in this way you stay in the home as though you are a guest of the home. This is the teaching which is given to the grihasthas. Then the other question will come, in spite of, we may be maintaining this even keel of mind, we may be maintaining this state of mind which is calm and peaceful, and we may be going about our activities, but with those activities, because the person cannot stay in the home without doing anything, so dharmanushtanam etc. has to be done by the grihastha. So the question may come whether this performance of swadharma will cause attachment, will cause punarjanma, etc. So the will cause any bondage, etc., which will affect the spiritual journey. So to rectify that, Bhagavad Padal is writing this message: Mamata abhimana shunyo vishayeshu parang mukhah purushaha tishtannapi nijasadane na badhyate karmabhi kwapi. Beautiful verse. So mamata abhimana shunyaha. So the person is there. Suppose the person is there within the house. Within the house is written the next verse. So tishtannapi nijasadane. Nijasadane, one's own place. So called one's own place. Let us say one is situated in nijastishtannapi. Even though one may be situated in one's own home, even though one may be a grihastha. Suppose the person is a mamata abhimana shunyaha. The person does not have the attitude of me and mine. Abhimana means ahankara. One has a feeling of I-ness. One is such and such person. One has a certain prestige about oneself, certain glorification of oneself. One has a feeling that I am so and so. That kind of feeling, right? So karta and bhokta. I am the central pin in this house. I am the person who is managing all the things in this house. I am the person who is responsible for, so many great things that I have done. So I have accomplished so many great things, etc. Abhimana. Then mamata. So mamakara, that is sense of minus towards the people who and the things which are there in the home. Because I have put so much effort and I have managed the family, I have done so many things. Therefore, these vishayas which are around me, these people who are around me, they all belong to me, they are all answerable to me, and I have a sense of attachment, and I strongly stick on to them, that they are my own. That constant feeling that I belong to them and they belong to me, this constant feeling one has. So if that feeling is there, then the vairagyam is not practiced, then there is no scope for this harsha vishada. So harsha vishada not being there, sorrow also will be there, pleasure also will be there. So where is the scope for any spiritual further practice? It is not possible. So one has to be mamata abhimana shunyaha. So absolutely no trace of shunyaha is put there. Absolutely no trace of mamata or abhimana ahankara. One has to be, if one is in this way, then vishayeshu parangmukha purushaha. If that person is purushaha, if that person is vishayeshu parangmukha, not interested in the vishayas, not, paramukha means he turns his head away, he turns his face away from vishayas, he turns the mind away from the vishayas. Vishayas may be there, but they don't affect this person because he is not interested in the vishayas. Such a person, even though he may be staying in the house, tishtan api nijasadane karma bihi na badhyate. So he is not affected by the execution of the swadharma, execution of various responsibilities which are very much essential, cannot be avoided by the grihastha. So as long as one is staying in the griha, in the stationed within the griha as a grihastha, as a family, etc., responsibilities will be there. One cannot run away from the responsibilities. If one runs away from the responsibilities, that will be violation of dharma. It should not be done. Shastra never asks one to violate dharma. So dharma should be followed. At the same time, don't maintain any mamata or ahanta. Don't maintain any sense of minus or I-ness towards anybody. Don't think that I am the karta, I am the hokta, I am all in all in the house. Do the activities with a sense of, absence of doership, non-doership. Bhagavan is everything. Bhagavan does everything. Bhagavan takes care of everybody. I am just instrument in the hands of Bhagavan. As Bhagavan has said in the Bhagavad Gita, in the same way, one should act in the world, one should act with one's own family members. Vishayeshu parangmukaha. So you may be acting such way with family members, but at the same time, if you are interested in enjoying the comforts and pleasures of the home, then also you will become attached. So maintain a sense of detachments from the comforts and the pleasure of the home. Provide comforts, provide the whatever the security that you want to provide the essentials which are required for other family members, whereas for yourself, don't require, don't develop sense of ownership, don't have a sense of I have to enjoy, that kind of feeling. If I don't enjoy, I will not be calm, I will not be peaceful, I will not be happy. This kind of feeling don't entertain. Maintain happiness, maintain peaceful attitude, maintain a compassionate attitude in spite of the existence of vishayas around you, and which you are ignoring, which you are not considering as your own, nor are you interested to enjoy them. So amata is not there with respect to the vishaya, nor you are interested to enjoy them. If they are, if by chance you are getting in touch with the vishaya, then you can have that experience, but but don't go by yourself towards such pleasurable experiences. So vishayeshu parangmukaha. If there is an opportunity to say no to the vishaya, if there is an opportunity to say no to various comforts and pleasures which are available in the home, say no. That is the teaching. If you are in that way, then you will not be affected by the karma bihi na badhyate, kwapi na badhyate. So nowhere that person will be, at no time that person will be affected by this various karma. In no way the person will be affected. So this is the teaching for the grihasthas. So that is completed in this chapter. So very important. Most of us being grihasthas, we have to recollect these verses and keep them in mind every time. So let us now go to the next verse. Kutrapyaranya deshe sunila truna vali kopachite shitala tarutala bhumau sukham shayanasya purushasya. So next verse also we will read. Taravaha patra phaladhyaha sugandha shitala nilaaf paritah kalakujita vara vihakaha sarito mitrani kim nasyuhu. So the two verses are together. So first this verse. So kutrapi. So this is the teaching, or this is the describing the state of mind of the sannyasi, of the one who has become a this kind of a parivrajaka. So the person who has become a parivrajaka, who is not attached to, not only mentally detached but also physically detached from family, from house, etc., and he is just roaming about. He is a parivrajaka. He is just roaming about in this world, taking shelter wherever natural surroundings allow him to take shelter. He will take shelter there. Whatever food is naturally available comes of its own, he will take that food, and he will keep his mind focused on the Atman, the Paramatma, the Brahma, Ishvara, etc. So that kind of person, how he experiences the sense of comfort even when he doesn't have anything. So appreciating this mindset is very important even for grihastha, to be to enable that person to get the strength to practice the vairagyam. So one may feel, for example, that if all of these objects are not there around me, all of the people who are not there around me, who will take care of me? That fear will come. Even as one gets older and older, especially, this fear will come. Who will take care of me? Who will take care of me? This kind of feeling. And similarly, for the people who are attached to the Vastu Vishaya, if these things are not there, how will I enjoy in this world? So that feeling may come. So the teaching here is a beautiful two verses are giving us is that the nature itself provides all of the necessary pleasures that you can possibly hope to achieve. You don't need any extra Vishaya. You don't need any extra objects around you. You don't need any extra family around you to be comforted, to be peaceful, to be calm and happy. Cultivate the attitude, or develop the ability to appreciate nature, naturally available, the elements around you, the naturally available objects around you. If you are able to appreciate, then the artificially constructed relationships or the artificially constructed objects, you will not need to keep your mind stable, focused, and calm and peaceful, happy. In fact, the attachment towards the worldly objects is only going to disturb your mind further, whereas the sense of peace that you find in nature is the calmness, the beauty of nature, natural beauty, and the natural surroundings. If you are able to appreciate the Vishayas which come of their own accord, if they are able to appreciate, for which you are not struggling, those kind of things which you are able to appreciate, then your mind attains the required attitude, the attitude of Vairagyam, with which you can progress further in the spiritual journey. So now let us understand the meaning. Kutrapi, so somewhere, Aranya Deshe, somewhere in some forest, Sunila Trina Valikopachitte. So Sunila Trina means there is some beautiful grass is available. So it is describing, as I said, the Parivrajaka. So Parivrajaka is roaming everywhere and anywhere. So he doesn't require any, he is not staying in the home, and he is just staying in some natural environment. The beauty of the natural environment is being observed here. Sunila Trina. So there is a beautiful grass which is present in that forest. Valikopachite. So the sand which is, so Valika means sand. The sand which is available around the grass, or below the grass that is very soft and comfortable. Shitala tarutala bhumau. So shitala means the soft and cold, chill. It is not chill to the extent of being so cold like ice, but it is very pleasantly chill. Tarutala bhumau. Why is it pleasantly chill? The earth is pleasantly chill. Bhumau. So the earth, bhumi is earth. The earth is pleasantly chill. Why is the earth pleasantly chill? Because it is away from the direct sunlight, because it is at the bottom of, or it is the earth which is just nearby a particular big tree. Tarutala. It is at the root of a tree, surrounding the root of a tree. So therefore it is very shitala, it is very peaceful, calmly, and it's a very kind of a soft cold surface, which is very suitable for the person to lie down. So sukham shayanasya purushasya. So what is this person doing? The parivrajaka doing purushasya shayanasya. So the continuation is in the next verse. Sukham shayana. This person is just lying very peacefully and happily, resting at the bottom of the tree, near the root of the tree, which is a very appropriate surface, just like one's bed. That bed is not needed, you see. The cot or the additional artificially created enjoyments are not required to remove that feeling of attachment towards the object. Such verse is being told. How is the parivrajaka enjoying in the world? He is resting in the bottom of a tree in a very peaceful and calm place, which is surrounded by beautiful green grass, where the sand is very soft and tender, etc. And the forest is available. And what will be there in the forest? Continuing, Taravaha Patra Phaladhyaha. So he is surrounded by trees which are able to provide him various leaves and fruits. So leaves and fruits for kind of nourishment, etc. So such kind of taravaha, so such kind of trees are available around. Sugandha Shitala Anilaha Paritaha, surrounded by Sugandha Shita Anilaha. So the winds which are around that person, Anilaha refers to the wind which is around that person, surrounded by various breezes which are surrounding the person. These breezes are, how are they? They are Sugandha. So because it's a natural environment, there is a natural scent which is there in the breeze. There is a natural smell which is there in the breeze, which is very pleasant smell. And there the breeze is also very shita. It is very calming, very kind of a pleasant breeze is present around that person. Then what else is there? On the trees are available, fruits are available. So naturally there will be creatures, there will be the birds. And how are these birds? Kala kujita vara vihagaha. So vihagaha here, vara vihagaha here refers to the beautiful birds which are there. How are they? They are kala kujita. So they are making all sorts of natural music, you see. So if you have heard a bird song, so the bird song is referred to so as naturally available music. So special music is not required if you are able to enjoy this naturally available music. So saritaha, what else is available? The river is available. So some water source of water is available to clean oneself, to do the whatever the arnikam, etc., and then to partake of the water, etc. Such waters are available. All these things, the natural elements which are available, the Vayu is there, the Akasha is there, the Bhumi, Prithvi is there, then the waters are there, then necessary amount of heat is there, Agni is there. So Panchabhutas are available. These Panchabhutas are very much friendly to oneself. This kind of friends if you can enjoy, then you will not have any desire to enjoy the sort of the confinement of a house. So the Parivrajaka feels that the entire universe is my own house. Why should I stay within a small whatever 40 cross 40 or 80 cross 80 flat? It is not required. The the all-star hotel is available. So my teacher used to say, all-star hotel is available. Why do you want to confine yourself to five-star hotel? So what is the all-star hotel? All-star hotel is the entire universe. So if you go out and look at the open sky in the night, you will see all the stars which are available. In the presence of this all-star hotel, why do you need to stay in a five-star hotel? So 5 is a small number compared to the number of stars in the sky. So you just go out and enjoy the open sky. The Parivrajaka, the sannyasi, has the natural ability to do that. So that is why the Parivrajaka or sannyasi became the Parivrajaka sannyasi, right? So this kind of an attitude, if you develop, then you don't need the attachments. You appreciate mitrani kim nasyuhu. So that is the teaching. So all these things which are described, the beautiful grasslands which are there, the beautiful sand which is available, the beautiful river which is there, the beautiful birds which are singing very wonderful songs around oneself, the trees and which are filled with flowers and fruits and beautiful leaves, all these things being available, these are one's family. Are they not one's family? They give all kinds of comfort and pleasure to this sannyasi. So these are like one's family only. If you appreciate them, mitrani kimnyasihu, don't they become one's own family, is the teaching. So don't they become one's friends? Don't they give all kinds of happiness to oneself? If one is able to appreciate that, then one's mind is naturally freed from the confines or the attachments in one particular small home that one calls as one's own. So one home is one's own. What about outside? 80 cross 80, one's home. What about outside? Nothing belongs to us. That is the feeling. So if you have ownership towards the small thing, then you have to give up ownership to the big thing. Whereas if you give up the sense of ownership to a small thing, then you attain the ownership of everything. You become the person who is entitled to enjoy everything. So this attitude, develop this attitude. That is the teaching. So this is the message given to the sannyasi, as one may say, so to develop the vairagya further, or one may say it is given to the grihastha to become free from the confined mindset of being attached to one particular home. So vairagya bhagya bhajaha prasanna manasaha nirashasya aprarthita phala bhuktuhu pumso janmani kritarthata ihasyat. So vairagya bhagya bhaja prasanna manaso nirashasya aprarthita phala bhoktu pumso janmani kritartheha syat. So the next verse is a sort of a summary verse which is giving us the teaching of vairagya and the message that the person who is having the vairagyam is the blessed person in this world. So that kind of person only can be really said to be content in this world. And contentment or feeling of peace, that I don't need anything. I have reached the highest possible state and I don't need anything further to make myself happy. I don't lack anything that will make me sorrowful. And such kind of attitude one can entertain. Who is that person? Vairagya bhagya bhajaha. So that person is the person who has the vairagya bhagyam. So he has the fortune of vairagya. He has the great, wealth of vairagya, bhagya bhajaha. So he is the person who is enjoying vairagyam. Prasanna manasaha. So as I said before, the teaching of vairagyam should not make one cold-hearted or stone-hearted. The person becomes a prasanna manasaha. So we will never say the hard person, the cold-hearted or the hard-hearted person can be talked to be as a prasanna manasaha. Prasanna manasaha means the one whose mind is very pleased and happy always, calmly happy always. So prasanna manasaha, such a person can never be not compassionate. Compassion will be very natural to such a person. Prasanna manasaha nirashasya. So that person is free from desires. Vairagyam is directly freedom from desire to enjoy anything. Aprarthita phala bhoktuhu. So freedom from desire to enjoy anything does not necessarily mean freedom from enjoying anything. Whatever is available, whatever comes of its own accord, that person will experience and take delight in. Just as the natural breeze was blowing, the feeling of natural breeze will be felt by sannyasi also, and that will make his body, in a pleased state. In that way, and there is no effort put for that occurrence of the natural breeze. It comes of its own accord. In the same way, whatever experiences come of their own accord, aprarthita phala bhoktuhu, that those are experienced without any comment, without any struggle, without any necessity to either avoid or to enjoy. Desire to enjoy also not there. Desire to avoid the experiences is also not there. So aprarthita phala bhoktuhu, that person can happily enjoy whatever experiences come of their own without any struggle. Such a person, pumsaha janmani iha janmani kritarthata syat. So such a person attains in this janma itself contentment and attitude that I have achieved whatever is necessary to be achieved in this janma. Kritarthata means I have done. So krita artha. So I have achieved my goal of life. I have achieved my I don't have any further desire, so therefore I become content. Iha janmani. So now only I become content. I am not waiting for dying and going to some place and enjoying there. I am not waiting to rest in peace. I am already in peace. Correct. So such a person who is not waiting for any further things to happen for either enjoying or getting away from something. Some people feel this life is a burden. I am waiting to die. This person is not like that. This person neither feels this life is a burden, nor this person is feeling this life I have to, I have to sustain it, I have to maintain it. This kind of attitude is not there. Whatever happens, whether the body is there or not, whether the experiences around me are one way or another way, whatever is there, I have attained kritarthata. I am content. I don't have any objections or complaints or desires in this life. Such a person only gains. So let us read continue this. So the teaching of Vairagya once again. So how to develop Vairagyam. One important lesson is given here. What is this lesson? Dravyam pallavataschutam yedi bhavet kwapi pramadat tada shokayatha tadarpitam shrutavate toshaya cha shreyase swatantriyad vishayah prayanti yadami shokayate syuschiram santyakta swayameva chet sukhamayam nishreyasam tanvate. Beautiful pair of verses, one can say, your beautiful verse, one can say. So dravyam pallavataschutam yadi bhavet kwapi pramadat tada shokaya atha tadarpitam shrutavate toshaya cha shreyase. So one example metaphor is being given here. What is that metaphor? Suppose, so the teaching here is Vairagyam. Keep that in mind. Suppose there is a dravyam pallavataha. So there is a fruit which has ripened. So dravyam is referring to the fruit which has ripened on the tree. Pallavataha. So from the tree it is falling. Chutam. Suppose that ripened fruit falls to the floor, falls onto the earth from the tree. Yedi bhavet kwapi. Somewhere it falls. Pramadat, by its own accord, by accident, by some natural causes, it is falling onto the earth. The ripe fruit is falling. It is not unripe. It is ripe fruit falling. So it is soft and all. So the moment it falls, what happens? Tada shokaya. So suppose this is a tree which belongs to me, then how will I feel about it? Oh, this ripened fruit I could have enjoyed. It has fallen onto the floor and it has fallen to the earth. Now it has fallen to the earth means it is mashed and it is no longer edible. One cannot pick it up again and have it, etc., because it has become crushed onto the earth and other insects have started eating it and so on. So that becomes a source of sorrow for me, who is the owner of that tree, it seems. Right? So suppose that fruit is not plucked at the right time and it falls onto the floor, it falls onto the earth, and it becomes it attains a state where it is no longer edible, then that is the cause for sorrow. Atha tadarpitam shrutavate toshaya cha shreyase. So therefore, what should one do? One should pluck the fruit when the time is appropriate, when that fruit is to be plucked, before it falls onto the ground. And suppose one gives it to Shrutavate Tosha, to Shrutavate Tadarpitam. Suppose one gives it to a person who is well versed in the Vedas and Shastra, the person who is most appropriate for receiving the dana, most appropriate for giving the dana. To such a person, if you give to a noble person, to a person who does not have any desires, to a learned person, if you give that fruit, then it will contribute to toshaya cha shreyase. It will contribute to the happiness of that noble person. And if it contributes to the happiness of noble person, that is toshaya shreyase cha. It will also contribute to the shreyas of the shreyas means the highest benefit. The dharma one will gain, the punya one will gain. Who will gain that punya? The person who is the donor. So if I am the owner of the tree, I pick that fruit at the right time, I donate it, I give it as a dana to the person who is most appropriate to be given dana for. The person who is a learned person in the Shastras and Veda, to such a person if I give it, then that person also will become happy, toshaya, and I will get shreyas. I will also get great punyam because of that. So what is the message here? The message is, don't let the fruits just go away of their own accord. Give them up to the appropriate people and be happy. So that message is, the story is that metaphor is told here, the example is told here. Now description of the teaching is told. Swatantriyad vishayah prayanti yadami shokaya. So if the objects vishayah swatantriyad prayanti yad, suppose the vishaya, suppose the objects go away, the ones which are one's possessions, so called, which are called as my own, if they are going away from me of their own accord, by their own nature, when time, either somebody steals it away, some natural causes or some artificial causes, I am not willing to give it up, but they are going away from me, then they are the cause for sorrow. Ami shokaya te syuhu. So they become the cause for sorrow to that person to whom the ownership is there. So I maintain sense of ownership towards something and I don't give it up, but that thing goes away of some various causes of itself, then that will cause sorrow to me. So chiran, instead of that, chiran santyaktaha swayameva. So at the appropriate time, santyaktaha swayameva chet. Suppose one gives it up totally, santyaktaha. So tyaktaha is not alone told here, santyaktaha. So samyak tyaktaha. Suppose one gives that object up to whoever is capable of maintaining it, whoever is the appropriate person to receive it, without having any sense of attachment towards it. Physically giving is one thing, then after physically giving, you should not maintain the attitude, I gave it again and again. So santyaktaha means what? Give up the ownership and give it up to somebody who is the appropriate recipient for that. Swayameva, by oneself, one's own desire, you give it up. Suppose you give it chet sukhamayam nishreyasam tanvate, then one can attain peace and happiness. So one is no longer worried about that object, one is no longer attached to that object. The idea about these objects is, they may seem very comfort and pleasurable for some time, but then the general trend we have seen before is what is that? The to gain them, one has to struggle a lot. To maintain them, one has to struggle a lot, and when they go away, they will create sorrow. This is the nature of objects. So as long as the person is entertaining the desire for the objects, he has to struggle a lot to gain them. correct? And then for maintenance also, lot of struggle is required. Then for when they go away of their own accord, that desire is not given up to enjoy, so therefore they create lot of sorrow. So instead of acting in this way, let the objects come of their own accord. One does the swadharma, one takes care of whatever is the responsibilities. Then the things which are supposed to come will come. They will stay as long as they are intended to stay, and they can be given up by oneself instead of waiting them for them to go away. Very deliberately one gives them up. So this giving up can be in two ways. One is giving up the sense of attachment towards it. That means giving it up to Bhagavan. This object belongs to you, Bhagavan. You take care of it. I will be responsible for managing, but you are the one who is the owner. So therefore, give up the sense of ownership. Towards some things we have to do like this only. We cannot say I will sign this house off to somebody and I will go away. One cannot, not all can say, but one can definitely say this house is there, I am staying within it temporarily, but really it belongs to Bhagavan. So the ownership is given to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the rightful recipient. One signs off the ownership mentally to Bhagavan, and then one stays within the house as long as nature, or as long as the prarabdha enforces one to stay within the house. That is about it. So santyaktaha swayameva santyaktaha chet sukhamayam nishreyasam tanvate. So this will result in sukha. First of all, it will result in lot of peace of mind. One is no longer worried for maintaining that object. One is no longer worried about when the object will go away, when will it go away, it will create me sorrow, etc. One is not worried about the going away of the object, or one is not desiring for anything new. That such the struggle is explicitly for that object. So dharma is being done. The objects as they come, they can stay for as long as they want, and then either they are given up. So one can, the other way to give up is one give it up explicitly to somebody who is the appropriate vessel for that. So Satpatra Dana, etc. is mentioned in the Shastra. To such a Satpatra, if one donates it, one gives it as Dana, then Sukhamayam, then the happiness is attained. Nishreyasam, it will result in the moksha also. The Vairagyam is one of the eligibility criteria for moksha. So it will eventually result in moksha also. Nishreyasam means moksha. Tanvate, it will result in, it will cause. What will cause? This attitude of giving up the objects which are towards which one has attachment to. Give up the attachment or give up the object away by one's own accord. Don't, if the desire is kept and it goes away, then it causes sorrow. Give up the desire or give up the object itself, then you will be at peace. This is the teaching. So with this verse, I think we will stop for today. The next verse we will continue in the next meeting, which is the 75th verse, the last verse of this particular chapter. And with that, we will summarize this chapter and conclude it. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.